Good day everyone, we are the group 2 and today we will be discussing one type of nutrient cycle. But first, unsa man jud ng nutrient cycle? Ang nutrient cycle is the process that encompasses the movement of nutrients from physical environment to living organism and back to the environment. There are several types of nutrient cycle like sulfur cycle, phosphorus cycle, oxygen cycle, nitrogen cycle, and many more to mention. But this time, we will be focusing on nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen exists in both organic and inorganic forms. This nitrogen is found abundance in the atmosphere. And this nitrogen is made available to plants by symbiotic bacteria which can convert usable forms. 78%, kabalo ba mo nga, 78% of nitrogen gas makes up the atmosphere. But then, it cannot be usable. It cannot make DNA, RNA, protein, and even proteins because nitrogen atoms are superglued that no one can break. Not until na ay bacteria nagpakita nga nag-break sa triple band atom which can be called nitrogen fixation bacteria that can be found in soil and root nodules at a certain plant. So as you can see in the image, kanang red diya muna siya. Then gubon niya kanang bacteria, gubon niya ang triple band na nitrogen. And hydrogen will be added to form ammonia, the NH3, as you can see in the image. Now, the process of nitrogen gas from the air to the soil is what we call nitrogen fixation, where nitrogen gas is getting fixed so that other living organisms can reutilize it. So other parts of the cycle will be discussed by my group mates.
So good day everyone. So I will be discussing the types of nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation has three types. First is the atmospheric fixation, second is the industrial nitrogen fixation, and lastly the biological nitrogen fixation. But let us first discuss the atmospheric fixation. So atmospheric fixation is a natural phenomenon where the energy of lightning breaks the nitrogen. So lightning will break the nitrogen and then it will produce nitrogen oxides where it can be used for plants. So that is for the atmospheric fixation. Second is the industrial nitrogen fixation. So industrial nitrogen fixation is a man-made alternative used for aiding nitrogen fixation by the use of ammonia. So ammonia will then be produced by the direct combination of nitrogen and hydrogen. So when nitrogen and hydrogen will combine, it will produce or converted into various fertilizers such as urea. So if you are not familiar with urea, urea is a fertilizer where it occurs not only on the urine of mammals but also on the blood, milk, and perspiration. So that is for the industrial nitrogen fixation. Lastly is the biological nitrogen fixation. So we already know that nitrogen is not used directly from the air by plants and animals. So bacteria like rhizobium and blue-green nga algae transform unusable form of nitrogen into other compounds that are more readily usable. So these nitrogen compounds get fixed in the soil by these microbes. So again, that is a biological nitrogen fixation. I-convert nila ang mga unusable nga mga compounds into readily usable nga mga compounds. So that is for the types of nitrogen fixation. Next, we have nitrification. So nitrification, in this process, the ammonia is converted into nitrate by the presence of bacteria in the soil. So by the presence of bacteria in the soil, i-convert ang ammonia into nitrate because we all know that ammonia is very toxic. So Nitrates are formed by the oxidation of ammonia. So, ang ammonia mag-undergo siya og oxidation. So, if you are not familiar with oxidation, oxidation is the process of losing electrons. So, ammonia will lose electrons with the help of Nitrosomonas bacteria nga species. So, later, the produced nitrites are converted into nitrates by nitrobacter. So, this conversion is very important since we all know that ammonia is toxic for plants.
Okay, for our next process is the assimilation. Primary procedures plants take in the nitrogen compounds from the soil with the help of their roots, which are available in the form of ammonia, nitrate ions, or ammonium ions, and are used in the formation of the plant and animal proteins. So this way, it enters the food web when the primary consumers eat the plants. Next, the ammonification. When plants or animals die, the nitrogen present in the organic matter is released back in the soil. So the decomposer, namely bacteria or fungi present in the soil, convert the organic matter back into ammonium. So this process of decomposition produce ammonia, which is further used for other biological process. Okay, next, denitrification. Denitrification is the process in which the nitrogen compounds make their way back into the atmosphere by converting nitrate into gaseous nitrogen. So this process of the nitrogen cycle is the final stage and occurs in the absence of oxygen. So denitrification is carried out by the denitrifying bacterial species Clostridium and Pseudomonas, which will process nitrate to gain oxygen and gives out free nitrogen gas as a byproduct.
Nitrogen cycle is important because it plays a critical role in sustaining life on Earth. So the following are the reason why the nitrogen cycle is important. The first one is the vital nutrients. So nitrogen is a fundamental nutrients required by all living organisms. And the second one, it's all about the ecosystem balance. So nitrogen ensure a continuous supply of nitrogen and ecosystem to facilitating the health and balance of various habitat. And the third one is the agricultural. So in agriculture, nitrogen play a critical role in crop production. They use nitrogen as fertilizer to enhance soil fertility. And the fourth one, it's all about the environmental impact. So proper nitrogen cycle is essential for preventing environmental issues such as water pollution. And the fifth one, it's all about global impact. So nitrogen cycle has a global impact on climate change and atmospheric composition. And the last one, it's all about sustaining life. So nitrogen cycle is indispensable for the survival and well-being of all living organisms. So those are the reason why the nitrogen cycle is important.
Hey everyone, here is our conclusion and key points about nitrogen cycle. So the nitrogen cycle is a crucial process that ensures the availability of nitrogen, so an essential nutrient in our environment. Through the nitrogen cycle, we witness the intricate dance of nitrogen as it moves through various forms in our environment. So starting with nitrogen fixation, where atmospheric nitrogen is converted into ammonia by bacteria. So the cycle progresses through nitrification, where ammonia is converted into nitrites by the other bacteria. These nitrites are taken up by plants for their growth and development. As plants are consumed by animals, nitrogen enters the food chain and eventually returns to the soil through decomposition. And then the final stages of the nitrogen cycle involve denitrification, where nitrates are converted back into atmospheric nitrogen by denitrifying bacteria. So this completes the cycle. And so for the overall, the nitrogen cycle highlights the interconnectedness of living organism and the environment. So emphasizing the importance of nitrogen in sustaining life. So by understanding and respecting this cycle, we can contribute to maintaining a balanced and healthy ecosystem for future generations. So, humana ta sa to ang conclusion and key points. But, na ako'y ganahan nga ibilin sa inyo nga quote which can motivate nga itong i-take care gid gyapon ni nga cycle or give respect ani nga cycle kay dako kay contribution ni nga cycle. So, kani nga quote is gaingon nga the nitrogen cycle is nature's way of recycling nitrogen. So essential for the survival of all living organisms as it transforms nitrogen from the atmosphere into forms usable by plants and animals and back again sa nitrogen. So inana siya munang ato ganing ampingan. So this quote captures the essence of the nitrogen cycle and its importance on Earth.